Xi Jinping makes nice with Chinese tech. Anglo-American raids the Anglo-Platinum cash balance. All-time highs all over the place. More Trump tariffs. USD weakness. ZAR to 1720. This is Worldwide Markets, episode 698 for 19 February, recorded Tuesday afternoon. My name is Simon Brown. This podcast is brought to you by SPG Securities Online Share Trading and Shift Global. Shift for all your FX transactions, buy and sell offshore shares and ETFs. First up front, you would have noticed, perhaps maybe, new name. I've been talking about this coming through. Worldwide Markets, it's also new branding. But wherever you're getting this podcast, well, you got it exactly the same way. It's just new name, new pictures. The new name's been a little while coming. JC Direct, when we started this podcast back in July of 2018 on Classic FM as a weekly radio show, all we talked was JSE. And in fact, we looked at small caps and some mid caps. There was no top 40. It was the LTX boom and all of that was happening. So JSE made sense because that was our focus. It's no longer the case. We're talking a lot wider than just that these days. And so we thought it was fair to adjust the name. I've been toying with it. It kind of dovetailed nicely with the new sponsorship. We appreciate Standard Bank and Shift Global for their sponsorship. Another quick bit of housekeeping. Last week, audio was horrible. My bad. For some reason, the software went and recorded off my laptop microphone, not my fancy microphone. And I only noticed afterwards, and I didn't have the energy to redo. My bad. Absolutely my bad. Our first Power Hour is Tuesday the 18th. You might be listening to this ahead of it. Otherwise, the Power Hour video is up online. We're looking at exchange-traded products. We're looking at being tax efficient. We've got budget on the 19th. I don't think that anything I'm going to be talking about in that Power Hour is going to be impacted by budget, but it might be, in which case we will update. But my sense is those sort of limits in terms of Reg 28, tax-free, donations, interest exemption, all of that are not going to change. So we will be quite comfortable with that. You'll find the video, justonelap.com/power hour. Let's start with Anglo Platinum. So the demerger is now officially happening in the middle of the year. Anglo-American will cut down from, I think, 67% to 19.9% shareholding. I'm not sure why they're keeping that. It seems a bit weird. And they will relinquish all board and committee seats. Fair enough. That means an unbundling. It means if you hold Anglo-American shares, you will get yourself some Anglo-American Platinum shares. The results came out. The results weren't bad considering. So they achieved 12 billion in annual cost saving. That's ahead of their target of 10 billion. They only did 8.4 billion of headline earnings. In other words, without that cost saving, they were actually going to make a loss. They managed to make a profit in what's been a tough market. Their all-in sustaining costs was 13% lower. Target was $1,050. It came in at $986. That's really good. But what we're seeing is that there are pressure in the PGM prices. That is hurting them. But Anglo Platinum management managing what they can, right? They can't manage the PGM price. Well, they can a little bit with pulling back some supply, but certainly they are the low-cost producer in the space. They're making money at this current environment. That's all the good news. Make no mistake about it. The bad news or the wild news was that they declared a dividend. 40% of HEPS goes on dividend. That's not unusual. What was unusual is they declared a special dividend of 59 Rand per share. They're essentially paying out 17.6 billion Rand in dividends. 15 and change of that is the special dividend. And to be quite clear, it leaves them with zero money. They had 17.6 billion in the bank at the end of the reporting period, December. They now have zero in the bank. Now, they are profitable. They are cash generative. They will build this up. But it is frankly crazy for a single commodity mining company at the bottom of the cycle to have no cash. You need that money. Just maybe opportunity comes along. Maybe crisis struck. Maybe prices go even lower. PGM prices. What if they went to, I don't know, $500 an ounce? I'm not saying they would. I would be hugely surprised if they did, but it's not impossible. Essentially what happened was Anglo-American said, look, we're demerging you. We're getting rid of you. We don't like you anymore, but we do like your cash balance. So we're going to raid your cash balance. This was a raid on Anglo-Platinum's cash balance. I still think that in the space, Anglo-American Platinum is probably the best PGM miner that we have. I don't want to own a PGM miner at this point in the cycle. I think there's still going to be some pressure. Well, not pressure. We've got the pressure. I don't see that pressure being alleviated yet. Something will happen at some point. The pressure will be alleviated. PGM prices will move higher, and Anglo Platinum will make giant money and pay a special dividend from special profits, not because they're being raided. But, and I've said this before, the problem is that some 40, well, let's run the numbers, 47% of the shares in issue are going to land in people's brokerage accounts mid-year. When that demerger happens, it'll be both London and Johannesburg stock exchanges, and that people might not want it. There are a lot of folks who are going to say, well, I'm here for Anglo for the copper. Maybe you're there for the iron ore. Maybe you're there for the diamonds. I don't know. The point being is that a lot of folks are going to say, this is not what I'm looking for, so thanks, but no thanks. And therefore they sell it. So put selling pressure. The flip side, of course, is that the trackers need to go and buy some. Anglo-American's under pressure, so it won't necessarily be in as many passive indices as always, but there will be some buying by those passive indices. But I do expect some price weakness. It's rallied quite hard up into the mid-600s from the low 500s, where Anglo-American did some of that selling of the shares. But I think some weakness. At this point, I'm not buying PGMs at all. Thank you, but no. But tech. So I spoke last week about how, hey, China is suddenly looking interesting. We had Alibaba sign up with Apple so that Alibaba's AI can be part of Apple's AI or Apple Intelligence, because they couldn't use a US one. They needed a Chinese one. That certainly has sent Alibaba running. But perhaps even more importantly, and we need to go back to the Ant Group IPO in late 2020. Jack Ma, who is founder and CEO of Alibaba, is also the founder and CEO of Ant Group. And that IPO got pulled very much last minute. And then the crackdown on conscious consumption on Chinese tech companies by the Chinese government ratcheted up markedly. It absolutely did. Jack Ma wasn't seen in public for about a year. He's been seen around a bit, but on Monday there was a conference where Jack Ma spoke. Xi Jinping was in the audience. At some point, both Jack Ma and Xi Jinping were on stage together. And I appreciate it's like, yeah, but come on, Simon. These are just two old Chinese guys who maybe by chance got to hang out together. No, this was not by chance. Certainly, Jack Ma would have known what he's doing. Xi Jinping would have known what he's doing. In many senses, it's bringing China tech back into the fold. It's Xi Jinping, and by proxy, the Chinese state, showing love to Chinese tech for the first time in over 4 years. It is not insignificant by any stretch of imagination. And Chinese tech continues to do well. Make no mistake about that. We're certainly seeing them running. If you want more around that, go have a squiz at last week's podcast. I go into a bunch around tech there. But talking about highs and in some cases, well, I don't want to say lows, but let's start with the dollar index, DXY. It's coming under a little bit of pressure, up above 110, now below 107. At the same time, we are seeing the Rand pick up some strength. Where's the Rand trading? I need to get that there. The Rand is at 1842. It was 1835 yesterday. Peter Redenhays from Herenia Capital Advisors says 1720 is his target. This is not completely unexpected. If you're looking to move money offshore, it's quite nice. I'm not rushing to move money. I certainly think the Rand is going sub 17. And frankly, 1680 is not an impossible number either. As I said, Petri's talking 1720, which is about that level. 1680 is around about that level there. Both of those are potentially in play. I think there are potentially a couple of reasons why we're seeing some dollar weakness and hence Rand strength. I think part of that, and of course budget on Wednesday could change everything. We'll see about that then. Some of it is just the world is sort of starting to, I don't know, get used to President Trump. Has it been a month yet? No, it hasn't. It'll be, maybe it was 4 weeks on Monday. So, it'll be a month on Thursday. It was 4 weeks on Monday. So we're kind of getting used to that. Although his latest trade tariff tirade is that if you charge VAT on American goods, as we do in South Africa, he's going to tariff the country to that VAT level, which basically means he will tariff everybody. Absolutely everyone. In South Africa's case, 15%. In the case of the UK, 20%. Europe, they've all got VAT at around the 20% level as well. Interesting. All US states have sales tax except for Delaware, but he doesn't seem to be overly stressed with that. And he says if there are reciprocal tariffs, he will punch the number higher. I don't know how he gets out of this corner, but you know what? He's got out of every other corner. So we will, fine, sure. Whatever you say, Mr. President, that is fine. But let's look at some all-time highs. There are all-time highs all over the place. We'll start in the US. US was closed Monday for President's Day. S&P Friday all-time high. Nasdaq Friday closing all-time high. Bitcoin not so much. Gold just off those all-time highs, but looking strong for a weekly close. Silver. Silver's not something I ever really look at, but even that is approaching the highs. Nifty 50, which is India, just off highs. ASX in Australia, pretty much just off those highs. Nikkei 225 in Japan has been going sideways since, March of last year. FTSE trading just off highs. Eurostoxx 50 highs. Germany highs. France highs. Not quite yet in France, but we're seeing them all over the place. J200, which is our own top 40, all-time highs. What do we got with Hang Seng? Out of Hong Kong, not at highs, but this was the break that we've been talking about last week as well. On some of the stocks I'm following, Nvidia not quite there, but certainly heading in that direction. So what we got is a market that is broadly bullish, and you can say to me it's AI tech, and sure, it is. A lot of it is tech, but a lot of it is not tech. Here's ASML, which is a Dutch company, European operated. It's off the highs. Highs were 1100. It's down at 750. I've been buying at around about these levels, a little bit lower, I think around 700 or so. I've been picking up some ASMLs. Some of them, like CrowdStrike, are an intuitive lesson as well. So you will remember CrowdStrike broke the internet last year. Some 8 million Microsoft computers the world over in July got bricked. It absolutely collapsed. I managed not to panic. Partly, I had only just purchased a little while before. My entry there was about 350. It then collapsed all the way down to 200. It's back at highs. The highs are, yes, a lot of them are in tech. Meta had 17, 18 days in a row of green closes, just up and up. But it is telling you that this is a bull market. Now, are there reasons to be worried? For sure. Should we be panicking? No. This is what markets do. They become ridiculous at points. And, I do think we're going to get lower returns out of the US at some point. When? I don't know. For now, I am staying where I am. And, things are going up. I'm getting richer. You're getting richer. We're all getting richer. That's what we're here for. So no panic required. The highs are bullish. Yes, there are things to worry about. You know what? There is always things to worry about. There is always uncertainty. Is there more right now? Sure. I would argue that there is. There's maybe peace in Europe, but maybe not. Trump, who knows what's going to happen there? All sorts of things are happening. Yeah, there are reasons to be uncertain, but I would wager there are always reasons to be uncertain. I'm going to leave it there. Slightly shorter show today. That's because Wednesday evening, I'm at a budget event. I'm on the panel. Karen Morn and others are also on the panel, and I will drop the audio from that on Thursday morning into the feed, so you will have that coming through your feed. So a slightly shorter show, and then normal resumes again next week. We'll get back to everything doing the normal way. My name is Simon. As always, look after yourself. If you can, look after somebody else as well, and we'll chat again next week. Cheers all.